Hello, my name is Zerd, so welcome back to another video. For those guys who are new to my channel, my name is Zerd and I focus on mainly making Minecraft and Roblox gameplay videos. So after explaining this, let's get on with the video. So right now this video will be talking about swords, Minecraft swords. They are mainly used for combat and a bunch of other purposes. However, and these are the original 6 mod swords in vanilla Minecraft. They range from the weak wooden sword all the way to the strong netherite sword, and they are the original swords in vanilla Minecraft. Now you can also enchant them with various enchantments such as sharpness, smite, bane of arthropods, knockback, fire aspect, looting, and sweeping edge if you are playing on Java. And I feel like these nothing much has changed much with the swords in general since they're introduced to the game, and the only new sword so far is the netherite sword from the 1.16 update, the nether update. Now after playing a while with these swords, I feel like they're pretty boring in general, so today I installed a data pack that enables me to get custom swords by the data pack. So right now we need to go to the creative grind, get ourselves a crafting table, get ourselves a wooden sword, and what we'll do is we'll place down a crafting table, use the crafting table, place a crafting table and a wooden sword together, and we get ourselves a knowledge book. Now what does this knowledge book does is, this is a sword crafter, and what does the sword crafter does is it lets us craft the custom swords included in today's data pack. So right now let's grab ourselves a bunch of miscellaneous items. Let's go grab ourselves some stuff related to the end, some ender pearl and crystals. Let's get ourselves some obsidian. For as far as I know, I think these are the crafting items required for the custom sword. I may not list all of them, however, I'll still list some of them included in the data pack. Let's get ourselves some emeralds, and yes, there's emerald swords in this data pack. Honey, soul, sand, quartz, nether quartz. What else? You also need totems and a lot more miscellaneous items, just like maybe the raw cod and the pufferfish, and what else? TNT, we need TNT for crafting certain swords, and what else? Firewood rockets of these. So these are some of the required materials required to craft some of the swords. It may not feature all because I don't know all the crafting recipes for all of them. Let's grab ourselves a bunch of sticks, and if I feature all the swords it'll be too long for today's video, so let's grab ourselves 42 sticks and let's begin crafting, shall we? So the first sword we'll be crafting for today's video is based off a pun, also known as the swordfish. So right now what the swordfish does is it inflicts mobs with poison, if I remember about the data pack correctly. So what we'll do is we spawn a creeper, spawn this guy over here. He's going to be a test subject for all the swords, and then if I'm not mistaken, we slash him with a sword. No, that's not how we do it. Maybe like this. I did not know why this guy didn't get inflicted with poison, but let's try again. Our creeper's immune to poison. Yeah, I don't know. Let's try out a different mob. What about a pillager? But this guy can get inflicted with poison. There we go. Now this guy's poisoned. There may not be a chance that the target might be poisoned every time, but at least now we know. So this swordfish only just poisons the target, has a slower attack speed compared to other weapons in the game, and 4 attack damage. So this is what the swordfish do. Let's kill off this guy, and let's continue on with our test subject with different swords, shall we? So let's try out the ender pearl. So when we get ourselves the Enderman sword, It strangely resembles a bit of the diamond sword since it's in the teal color. And what we do is when we spawn ourselves a creeper, we go hit it. No, we don't hit it. It has the same properties as a diamond sword. It does 7 attack damage, has a slower attack speed like the other custom swords, and we can apparently right click to teleport it. My bad. Let's teleport. And then that's what the Enderman Sword does. It's nothing significant to combat, however it's mainly used for its utility instead. So let's head back to our location that we used to craft our swords, and let's continue creating some other crazy swords, shall we? So if we get ourselves the end crystal, we get ourselves the end crystal sword. So what would this do is it does increasing damage per hit. So let's try ourselves a creeper. Assuming it does 1 attack damage, so the creeper receives 1 attack damage, and I'm pretty sure this is the 2nd attack damage applied to creeper, 3 attack damage, and killing it at 4 attack damage. I don't know whether it's times 1 or times 2, but it doesn't really matter, since this end crystal sword does increasing damage per hit, and that's all we know about it. So let's move on to the next sword for today's list, shall we? Our next sword is going to be the TNT Sword. So let's grab ourselves a TNT Sword. Also, it's almost coming into night time, so let's go back to day. Alright, the time has been reset today, and what we do is let's give a creeper a taste of its own medicine. 3, 2, 1. So what would the TNT Sword does is, it's pretty straightforward for its name. It blows things up while hitting, but the explode isn't that significant. It's a pretty small explosion so far, and it launches the target into the air if it's caught in the explosion radius, and does additional attack damage to the target. So it does around 1 attack damage, has an instant hit, which is something that's not included in Java 1.9 and up. And let's try it again. Let's try our TNT Sword again. What point if we crit? Yeah, the attack damage is still pretty much the same. Let's go back to our little crafting setup, and let's craft ourselves a different type of sword, shall we? Let's craft ourselves a Firework Sword. So what would the Firework Sword does is, it's sort of like the TNT Sword, but except instead of normal explosion, it does firework explosion. It does 3 attack damage, has the same minus 2.5 attack speed. So let's drop ourselves our test subject over here. Let's see what will the Firework Sword do. 3, 2, 1. So this is what the Firework Sword do. I think it's a pretty cool effect so far, and it can be used to damage your enemies without having to damage the terrain. So it's a pretty fun explosive sword, sort of like a TNT Sword, except it does hunt to the terrain, and it doesn't have the instant attack. So yeah, let's craft ourselves a different sword. Where I may need to pause the recording since I need to receive something at the mail. I'll continue after I did one. Sorry I have to pause the recording over there, but I have to receive something from my mail. And let's continue on with the video. So the next sword we'll be featuring on today's video is, come on, man, the sword crafter takes quite a while to enter its GUI. But let's get ourselves the Honey Sword. So what would this thing do is it has a very slow attack speed, much slower than the other swords like the Swordfish and the End Crystal Sword. And what it does is it slows down the target. It's pretty straightforward. It slows down the target, but in return it has quite a low attack damage and very low attack speed. So that's what the Honey Sword does to its targets. And let's move on to the next sword on today's list. So right now let's enter this thing's GUI. Takes forever to load, but let's spawn ourselves another one. Let's create the Emerald Sword. So what the Emerald Sword does is it does more damage to Raider or illager mobs in general. So let's try that out on a pillager. I don't know whether the pillager must necessarily be spawned by the raid, but let's try it out nonetheless. Let's go spawn this pillager over here. Yo, it actually does more damage regardless of whether it's in a raid or not, because it gives out the sparkly effects. When I crit him, and I think he took a ton of damage. So it does do more damage to him when he's not spawned by a raid regardless. Let's try ourselves a normal netherite sword. 1, 2 crits also finish them off pretty easily. Let's try diamond. These guys don't die entirely to a 2 crit diamond sword. So the emerald sword is sort of like a netherite sword to the illager mobs. So it's a pretty good thing to know. It can really help when defending the village. And it also comes with a cheaper price, since emeralds are a lot easier to acquire than having to go get netherite. But let's go head to our next sword, which is the Quartz Sword. So what this thing does is excuse me. Jeez, the crafting GUI takes forever to load, but I think I'm supposed to use nether quartz blocks. Quartz. Yeah, I think you're supposed to use 2 nether quartz blocks. Smooth. Let's say there's some quartz blocks, block of quartz, whatever you like to call it. Enter its GUI, which takes forever to load. Okay, now we got the Quartz Sword. So it does as, let's shift it over here. It has more power in the nether, but not in the overworld or the end. That's good to know. So like it does, let's try it out in the overworld. So it does like pretty low damage to these guys, since these guys are spawned in the overworld. It takes about, like this thing literally does no damage to any mob in the overworld. But if we head to the nether, which we'll be doing now, let's get ourselves some obsidian. And flint and steel. So we build ourselves a nether portal, and not known for speed building nether portals, but let's go to the nether to test out this bad boy. So we're in the nether. So I'm thinking this sword deals a lot more damage in the nether than it does in the overworld. So if we spawn a creeper in the nether, let's damage it. Yo, it like does legitimately a lot more damage in the nether. Like it destroys common mobs with the same health as players or villagers with 2 crits. Let's see how it does with piglin mobs. Piglin mobs have less health than common mobs. So let's try ourselves a piglin mob. Let's see how much damage will it take. Okay, it takes about 2 crits to kill one. Or you can also use 2 normal attack damage, 2 normal attacks for it. So now, since we are still in the nether, there's still one more sword that can be crafted since we're in the nether. It's called the Magnus Sword, and I'm doing it in the nether because the nether is a hot place and it's usually associated with fire and heat, not fear. So let's go craft ourselves a Magnus Sword, and we have a chance to burn. It's sort of like a sword with fire aspect, however you directly get the effect no matter what. Does the same attack damage as Stone Sword, has the reduced attack cooldown, has the increased attack cooldown like the other swords. And let's try it out on this Hoglin. No, it didn't burn for the first time. Yes, it does burn the second time. So unlike fire aspect, which will light the target no matter how many times it hits, this sword only has a chance to light the target on fire. Let's go back to the overworld and let's try another sword. So if we go to place this guy down, we'll get ourselves a Cursed Sword. That means it has a Curse of Vanishing. It deals massive damage, but it has a chance to recoil to us. Let's prepare using this bad boy, shall we? It's a really dangerous thing, so we need to take precautions. Let's reinforce ourselves with full netherite. You can never be too safe handling some handling custom sword. So now we got full netherite. Let's spawn ourselves a creeper. Actually, not a creeper. Let's do some. Let's try something that's a lot less dangerous, like maybe, let's say a husk, because a husk will never burn in daylight and has the same attributes as a zombie. So now what we'll do is we'll go back to survival. Yeah, game mode, survival. Yes, there we go. We're in survival now. Now this husk sees us. Come on, get to us, husk. And what we'll do is, it does massive damage to a husk, but has a chance to recoil to us. It didn't this time. Let's try again. Will it recoil to us this time? No. No, it didn't recoil to us for some reason. I guess we are extremely lucky during that time. Let's try spawning a piglin. Oh, I'm using the Quartz Sword. That's why he's not taking damage, and I did take damage this time. Let's go back to creative mode. So that's what the Cursed Sword is. There's Curse of Vanishing. It does an extremely high damage. Has the reduced attack speed like other swords, and it turns out, since I'm in survival mode, the custom swords have 250 damage, 250 durability, same as iron, and it has reduced attack speed as with the other swords. So let's introduce the last 3 swords for today's video. I understand it's getting really long, but there's a ton of custom swords and I cannot even list them all in today's video, so I can only list most of them. So let's try out the Glowstone Sword. Oh, it illuminates the target, like since it's really dark at night, it applies glowing to the creeper. If I'm not mistaken, it might have a chance to stun the target, but it doesn't appear to happen for this guy. Let's try again with this one. I don't think it stuns the target, but it does make the target glow, which will make you spot it a lot easier. And let's try out the Obsidian Sword. Did we try the Obsidian Sword out? But what the Obsidian Sword will do is it does less damage when it has less durability. Yeah, it gets weaker when it does less damage. It does a whopping 10 damage. Like, can literally two-shot any common mob, but it'll get weaker when it's more used. So that's a trait of the Obsidian Sword. Nothing interesting there, and let's move on to the Glass Sword, another sword for this data pack. Let's go make ourselves one. So now what the Glass Sword does is it has a very low damage, but it causes bleeding, and it does more bleeding damage at lower durability. So it'll make the mobs bleed, and the mobs will take damage from bleeding. Okay, so let's try it out on this guy. So when you hit the mob, the mob sounds like it's getting blood, it's bleeding. So that's what the Glass Sword does, and it does more bleeding damage at lower durability. So let's move on to our final sword for today's video. It's also known as the Totem Sword. This guy is sort of like a totem of undying. It's sort of like a totem, however it's in sword form. Like, seriously, it's a great way to use. It's sort of like a totem and a sword crossed together. So it functions like a normal diamond sword, but it has a -3 attack speed instead of the usual -2.5. Once you've reached 1 durability, you should probably use. My best advice for the sword is you should probably use that all until it hits 1 durability, and then you can treat it like a totem. But we'll be treating it like a totem regardless, since we're in creative mode. So let's go to survival and test out this bad boy. Yo, it actually works like a normal totem. But let's go to survival quickly. Survive. Jeez, I almost got killed. No, I'm accident type survival. I'm supposed to type creative. Jeez. Come on, creative. Oh my gosh. So after I barely escaped with my life, I managed to introduce most of the swords for today's video. So if you enjoyed today's video, please consider subscribing, sharing, liking, and commenting down below. It greatly supports the channel. I value you guys' feedback, and I hope I can reach 100 subscribers, because that will be enough for me to make a Discord community and a Facebook community. And if for any of you guys who are interested in today's data pack, you can check it down the link down in the description down below. It can be down the website download is in the description. You can download it from their website. I'll credit them, don't worry. And you guys can check this data pack out for yourself. So do the following if you enjoyed today's video, and it's a pleasure entertaining you guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.